Yeah, I'm just so privileged to be here. Thank you guys for having me again. Mart, I would like to greet you a happy birthday, and I'm just really honored that you thought of inviting me to be part of this event again. So this time I would like to talk about a topic that's really close to my heart, and I also asked Marty if we can probably tap this topic. So this is called self-worth. Where does it come from? Maybe you've asked this question to yourself many times, or maybe you're also struggling to know the answer to this question. How do you find your self-worth in a generation where the number of social media follower has become a weighing scale for societal value, or where fame and success are equated to happiness and significance? How do you to whom do you anchor your worth when you are deeply hurt by the people that you trust? And how do you collect your broken pieces to be whole again? So these are some of the questions that we will try to answer, and we will try to have an idea of saan ba talaga nanggagaling ang self-worth? Paano ba talaga natin maiintindihan yung self-worth natin bilang isang tao? I'm a millennial, and I think some of you who are watching right now are also millennials, but I realize that it is not only my generation or our generation who struggle with these questions, but also the generation before us, and also the generation after us. And if there are some Gen Zers here who are watching this, please know that I'm pertaining to you, and I'm also pertaining to those who are in my generation, and even to those who are a little bit mature. You see, the pursuit of self-worth is a delicate quest, and sometimes we find ourselves wearing two kinds of masks. As we navigate in this journey, if we are not careful, we can find ourselves wearing the first mask of pride and self-reliance. And on the other extreme, if we have been hurt and crushed in the process, we can find ourselves wearing the mask of self-pity and insecurity. You see, the first mask is hiding self-worth on what we are capable of doing, what we have achieved, the number of likes on our posts, the number of followers that we have. For the young people, maybe the school achievements that you've got, or to some of us here who are talented, maybe the talent that we can flaunt, or the physical beauty or the masculinity that people desire. We sometimes attach our worth as a person to things that are fading, and to people who are also imperfect, just like you and just like me. The second mask that we wear is a mask that we wear when we are hurt in the process of finding our worth. The pain drags us to hide in self-pity and insecurity. And the constant thought of, I'm not enough, I cannot do this, I am nothing, I'm just here but no one notices me. Siguro sa mga kasama nating YouTubers, I've been, in this industry, but still, hindi pa rin ako kumikita dito. I just have like couple of hundreds of followers. So maybe that can also drag us into the thinking or entertaining the thought that once we have been broken and crushed, you can never be restored to be valuable again. gusto ko hong i-share sa inyo kung paanong I myself also experienced that feeling of, am I worthy? So I lost my self-worth to bullying when I was younger. And I have been called by different names because I was taller, I was thinner than my peers. I have been laughed at because of my skin color. I was darker than the others. And I also developed that deep sense of insecurity because I felt that I have no father to love me and protect me. I realized I've been wearing the second mask because of how I was treated as a young girl. But I also found myself wearing the other mask. You see, I thought that the only way to find self-worth is to be successful. Kala ko talaga ganon. To reach the top, to be famous, to be accepted by the society that you live in. So I joined every beauty pageant that I can. If you know my story, you will know that I've joined beauty pageants even from the smallest beauty pageant from my town to the biggest beauty pageant that we have in the Philippines. So I joined Binibining Pilipinas in 2010, won Binibining Pilipinas Universe, and that enabled me to compete in one of the biggest beauty pageants in the world. And we all know that I competed in Miss Universe in 2010. With 83 countries competing, we all know I finished 4th runner-up. And that journey of when I returned to the country, I got job offers here and there, TV commercials, TV shows, product endorsements, modeling stints, hundreds of thousands of followers on my social media. And they even called me the drought breaker in the history of Philippine pageantry. You know, from the inside or from the outside, it looks like, wow, this woman is actually living the life. It looks like I'm flourishing. But on the inside, to be honest with you, I started to get overwhelmed by the attention of people, by the hectic schedule, by the demands of the job. The more people know me, I realized that the more I lose my identity, because I honestly felt like I have to conform to what they expect of me. Unfortunately, possession, and people are unstable pillars to hold on to. They do not determine our self-worth. Now, I would like us to think about this question. The question is, could it be possible that we find our self-worth without focusing on the self, yet finding our worth? You know, if we look at history, one of the most successful people ever lived is a guy named Solomon. Solomon was the son of the king of Israel in the 10th century BC named David. And Solomon eventually became king. He was considered the wisest man on earth. Not only that, but he is also extremely rich. He's famous, he had many wives, seemingly living the life. Yet, in his writings, he said, I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless. It's like chasing after the wind. And at the end of his life, he said, now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God. You know, I'm thinking, if a man like Solomon, the wisest and the richest, the so-called famous and successful people in our generation, came to this conclusion, could it be possible that the answer to our pursuit of self-worth is not dependent on the self, nor the possession that we have, or the way people perceive of us, but on God. Could it be that at the end of his life, he realized that after experiencing all types of pleasure, all the riches, the success, he realized that his value as a person is not dependent on those things, but on God. There is a saying that goes, the value of something is dependent on how much someone is willing to pay. And when I heard of this saying, I remember what the Bible in the book of Matthew recorded. It says, even the Son of Man came not to be saved, but, even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. I'll repeat that. Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. If of all the worldviews there is, it is only the Christian worldview that offers God in the person of Jesus as the only one who paid the price with his own life. This means God took the form of man, lived the simplest life, suffered the worst kind of death, and paid the price for you and for me. Ganda nun, no? Kung iisipin mo, in Jesus, we don't have to perform to prove ourselves worthy to him. Or on the flip side, we don't have to sink into self-pity, thinking that we are unworthy of love and acceptance. I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you have caught yourself wearing any of these masks. Wherever you find yourself in, could it be possible that the reason why we wear a mask or masks is that we are hiding something? Could it be our brokenness or the brokenness of our soul inside? I want to encourage you. There is restoration. And yes, restoration is very much possible. I am reminded of this century-old Japanese art of fixing broken pottery. It's called kintsugi. So this way, kintsugi puts together broken pieces of jars. At kung isipin natin parang, ang dali-dali lang naman yan, siguro i-glue lang yan, ganon. And yun na yun. But you know, what makes this extraordinary is that they use gold to put together the broken pieces. This process often makes the repaired piece of jar even more beautiful than the original, revitalizing it with a new look and giving it a second life. This is exactly what Jesus has done for us. In God's original design as the potter, he molded us intricately unique, just like a delicate vase. But when sin entered the world, it created cracks and caused us to be broken into pieces. Jesus is not telling us to hide our fractures from him. He does not want us to hide in disguise. We don't have to put up any kind of masks because he deems us worthy just as we are. I would go back to the question a while ago. Can fame and success be our lasting source of worth? My honest question would be no. Another question would be, to whom can we anchor our worth, especially in our brokenness? The answer is found in the person of Jesus. He wants us to come to him as flawed, sinful, imperfect as we are, in need of restoration. When we do, he not only repairs us, but He gives us a new heart. He puts our broken pieces together, and most importantly, He gives us new life in Him. Jesus is the one who collects our broken pieces together, and His blood is the gold that makes us whole again. Would you consider Jesus? Would you consider Jesus to be the one to define your worth? Would you be willing to be honest and come to Jesus and admit your brokenness and let Him put those broken pieces together? Hindi ko po alam kung nasan kayo, especially to those of you who are watching us right now. I don't know, what are the broken pieces? Or saan ka nasaktan? Kailan ka nasaktan? Or maybe baka hinahanap natin yung halaga natin bilang isang tao sa kung anong kaya nating gawin. I would like to remind you that our value as a person is never dependent on us, but it is always dependent on who made us. I would like to take this opportunity to actually pray for you guys and lead you to a prayer if it's fine. Again, this is an opportunity for me as well to share what's in my heart. And I've been into a situation that I thought success would be the defining factor, but it isn't. I hope this is a good reminder for all of us. So let me pray for you. If you are watching this and if you feel like, oo nga no, for all these years, akala ko, ang halaga ko bilang isang tao ay nakabase sa kung anong kaya kong gawin or ano ang pwede kong gawin. Pero ngayon, na-realize ko, hindi pala sa akin nakadepende yun. If that's you, and you want to bring your broken pieces to the Lord and say to Him, Lord, I surrender myself to you, and say, please be the defining factor of my worth. You may pray something like this. Jesus, I want to thank you for what you have done for me. I want to thank you that I don't have to pretend to be who I am not. I want to thank you that I can be honest with you. I want to thank you that I can be vulnerable in front of you. And I want to thank you that you accept me for who I am. Panginoon, patawarin mo ako sa lahat ng ginawa kong hindi maganda. Patawarin mo ako sa pag-iisip na ang halaga ko ay nakabase sa kung sino ako at kung ano ang kaya kong gawin. Pero hindi ko naisip na ang halaga ko pala ay dahil sa iyo at ikaw ang gumawa sa akin. Panginoon, mula ngayon, gusto kong ibigay ang pagkatao ko sa iyo para ikaw ang magdikta kung gaano ako kahalaga. Maraming salamat na hindi ang mga tao sa paligid ko ang magsasabi kung mahalaga ako o hindi. Pero ikaw ang magsasabi dahil ikaw ang nakakakilala sa akin at ikaw ang gumawa sa akin. Panginoon, maraming salamat. Lahat ng ito ay dinadalangin ko sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Guys, thank you very much for just tuning in. Thank you for your time. I truly appreciate your presence here, and I hope that this somehow made sense to you. If not, I'm sure Marty would be very much willing to take some of your questions. If you have some questions about your faith, about your worth as a person, I hope that you will not hesitate to just ask questions to him, or even you can send him questions that he can also send to me. Thank you. God bless you. Goodbye.